Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. Big game, man. We saw Indianapolis. What I find very interesting about this one is Indianapolis is kind of changing their identity. I've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. We talked about this last week when we were talking Green Bay Packers versus Colts, is that to start the season, first, 6-ish games, maybe going into the bye week or something like that, this team was trying to run the ball. Phillip Rivers, kind of like what we're seeing a little bit with Brady, like maybe some chemistry issues at the receivers. There have been a ton of injuries for receivers, all that stuff. Well, lately, Phillip Rivers has been slinging it, dude. He's been playing really well.
Yeah.
And this offense has been less about let me just try to run the ball 30 or 40 times a game and let's pass the ball more. And you're starting to see Phillip Rivers' pass attempts go up. And you and I both like Phillip Rivers.
Right.
Like, he's the overshadowed guy because we've seen Roethlisberger and Manning both win Super Bowls from that class.
Yes, right.
And we've seen Tom Brady and Roethlisberger and Manning win Super Bowls in the AFC. And meanwhile, Phillip Rivers has been basically the fourth best quarterback in that conference.
Yeah.
For like 15 years.
I know. I've always liked Phillip Rivers, and he is underrated because he doesn't have the hardware.
Yeah.
Right? He can never get through those teams. And but nevertheless, he's been, to me, he's Drew Brees. I don't know. The guy's just, he's an amazing quarterback, and he has been for a really long time.
Yeah.
Which is why I picked against Green Bay going in there.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy do his thing way too many times, and he's a fighter, man. He's got that spirit, dude. He loves to ball,
Yeah.
He's got that Brett Favre spirit running through him.
Then you got the Tennessee Titans, who I love, and I've been talking about since since they made that switch from Mariota to Tannehill. I'm like, dude, I love this team. I didn't like the team with Tannehill, as I always drill that point home for everybody. Didn't like them with Tannehill. Didn't like them with Mariota. Loved them with Tannehill. And the reason I like this is the same reason we like the Raiders on this channel, is they freaking run the ball.
Yeah.
No matter what. Vrabel.
No matter what.
And Arthur Smith. I love Arthur Smith. He's my favorite offensive coordinator in the league. Everybody talks about Bieniemy. Arthur Smith is my favorite offensive coordinator in the league because he freaking runs the ball. Runs the ball. He doesn't care. Just let me slam Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry is so awesome, dude. He's so good.
He's so awesome.
And everybody wants to talk about these receiving running backs, like Christian McCaffrey and all that stuff. And that's fun. You get highlights of them, catching a swing pass.
Dude, Derrick Henry is the man.
Dude, man.
He's amazing.
He is so good. And he just gets better every quarter. And that's why, so many coaches are wusses. And we don't get wuss coaching with the Tennessee Titans. They're just 2 yards of carry in the first quarter. Give it to him more. Yeah. 3 yards of carry in the third quarter. Don't care. Give it to him. Then he's ripping off these big runs, like the overtime winner against the Ravens last week. Just teams that it's crazy because you and I grew up watching really came into NFL in the 90s. That's all we ever saw. It's these teams just this battle of attrition.
Right. I miss that.
Yeah, but
I like that a lot.
But look at the teams that do it, that commit to it, the Raiders and the Titans. And I say, man, their problem isn't their offense. And their offense is legit. And they both have – I actually think Carr might even be playing a little bit better than Tannehill now because Carr is actually taking his game up to the next level.
Carr's on fire.
But that's not to say I don't love Tannehill. I do, man. Everybody he has that Adam Gase stink on him because he started in Miami. But since he's been playing for Tennessee, he's been a top quarterback. And he doesn't really get the respect he deserves. He was good in Miami, but people just don't like him because he got Adam Gase there with his bulgy eyes. The bug eyes at cricket. Geppetto. Geppetto.
What the hell? What was that guy?
I saw the best gif of Adam Gase because I was trying to describe this to my wife about how bug-eyed he was. Yeah. There's a gif out there of his initial press conference, the one where he's all crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just looking like he's on peyote, and he's all like this. Yeah. And somebody inserted a taco in front of his eyes. And so he's
following the taco.
He's following the taco around. Adam Gase. What a weirdo. Geppetto, right? Geppetto's the cricket, right?
I think so.
I don't know. Maybe he's not. I don't know. When you wish upon a star. Oh, anyway. No, Tannehill's legit. And the offense, did you see that? Did you see the highlight of A.J. Brown catching that tying touchdown pass where he ran through about 7 Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah, I watched that one live, actually. It was quite impressive.
That's what this team is all about, man. It's attitude. Yeah. I don't love, though, the Titans' defense. There have been a little bit of holes, and they lose Jayon Brown. So I don't like that. Whereas we're talking about the Titans, their defense is like elite defense. And the Tennessee Titans defense is not as good as the Indianapolis Colts. Sorry Titans fans, it's just legit. The Indianapolis Colts defense, you got to respect it. They stopped the run. Now, what's interesting is I don't think they're going to shut Derrick Henry down because nobody does. But they're a good defense, and they're going to be able to, basically slow him down to where I don't think we're going to get like a 200-yard day from Derrick Henry. We'll probably get one of those 25 carry 90 yards in a touchdown type day, which is still a nice day on the ground, but it's not the dominant day. And, the Tennessee Titans pass defense against the kind of emerging Indianapolis Colts offense is where I see this is the battle of the game, and I think that's what decided the game the last time these two teams played. So let me hit you with the line here and give me your thoughts. Tennessee Titans, Bovada has it plus 3.5 versus the Indianapolis Colts.
Really, you know what, this is tough for me. I'm going to take the Titans because I like them, and maybe it's because I'm rooting for them, and I like their brand of ball. But I think their brand of ball is going to hold up in the long run, so I'm going to go with them.
I'm having a tough time here. I'm actually going to take Indianapolis to win, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, look, I think Tennessee is built for the playoffs, and we saw this last year from Tennessee. It's like they peaked at the right time. And I said this last year while it was happening, is that they are not a fluke. I think they're built for the playoffs. I think they'll be in the playoffs, and they're not a team I would want to play in the playoffs. But their defense has to get better. Indianapolis, the product on the field right now, to me, is better. And, that's not to say that I prefer the Colts in the playoffs. I might have just said Titans. I meant the Colts' product on the field is better. It's not to say I would pick the Colts to be my bigger Super Bowl threat at this point. I'm not saying I am. I'm not saying I'm not. I don't know. But where these two teams are right now in Week 12, I think Indianapolis is just a more mature team. That's not to say that Tennessee can't get it done. What's interesting about this, though, is Indianapolis, they're 1-0 against Tennessee. If they end up winning this game, then they own the tiebreaker 2-0, right? And so what ends up happening is Indianapolis then effectively takes a 1.5 game lead because the Tennessee Titans have to overtake them in the standings. So this is huge here. If we get into Week 13, 4 games left for each team, I think, right? It would be their, what are they, 7-3? There'd be 5 games left for each team.
5 games.
With essentially 1.5 game lead, I believe that if the Colts win this game, look, it's not mathematically a certainty or anything, but I believe the Colts win this division if they win this game. Whereas the Titans, because if they were to win, they take the game lead, but they're still, head-to-head tiebreaker, then you have to look at some stuff. The game would still be there. So I think Indianapolis can actually essentially take put them in a headlock for here.
Sure.
But both teams are in the playoffs. And I'm not convinced because the Indianapolis Colts run game hasn't been as efficient as the Tennessee Titans. If these two teams lock horns in the playoffs, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't take Tennessee based on their ability to do that. But home field would also have a little bit of a say there as well in that matchup.
Sure. So. Well, not as much this year as in the past, right?
Yeah, that's true. You get like one guy in a bullhorn.
Hey, Phillip. Yeah, right.
Phillip, Ryan Tannehill.
I actually think the road teams have won more games than the home teams this year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't notice. You know what I did notice on the Monday Night Football last night is after a Tampa Bay, I think, touchdown.
Yep.
I heard in the crowd, this is how weird the season is, because there's no noise. I heard somebody just screaming Jalen Ramsey's name over and over again, and then after the kick, Jalen Ramsey looked behind them to see who was yelling.
Oh, get out!
Yeah, so you get like 5 people in the stadium, one guy in a bullhorn, like I'm having a party at the quad.
Yeah, right.
Derrick Henry, you're invited. AJ, bring AJB. Wear a mask.
I wonder if Ramsey went to that party.
I wonder if he did. All right, man, let's do some rapid fire. You good with that?
Perfect.
All right.